This opening Saturday of the Southeastern Conference football season continues from Faroe Field Memorial Stadium in Columbia, Missouri. Number 2 Alabama, the Crimson Tide, opening this season on the road, taking on the Missouri Tigers, who will play their first game under new head coach Eli Drinkwitz. This is the SEC on ESPN. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Sean McDonough along with Todd Blackledge. Delighted to have you with us as we get our first look at Alabama and Missouri. It says a lot about the Alabama program, Todd, when they're coming off an 11-2 season, and that was a colossal disappointment to everybody involved. They lost 9 draft picks off that team, all in the first 3 rounds. But as usual, they're loaded, particularly on offense.
Yeah, I mean, how many teams can lose 4 guys in the first round on offense and still be excited as they are about this team? And it's because they got a trio of great players. Devontae Smith, in a crowded wide receiver room, was probably the most consistent, led the team in yards and touchdowns. I can't wait to see how they utilize dynamic playmaker Jaylen Waddle this year in the offense. And then there's the big back, Najee Harris. Many people thought he wouldn't come back for his senior year after 1,200 yards. But I'll tell you what, this is an offense that still will be one of the most difficult to defend in the country.
And they'll be led by Mac Jones, who will have his first full season as the starting quarterback. He did a nice job last year taking over for Tua Tagovailoa. Tiger legend Justin Smith bangs Big Mo to ring in another new year of Missouri football. 5-time Pro Bowler with the Cincinnati Bengals, trying to get this crowd of just under 12,000 fired up for the start of this game. Ordinarily the capacity here 62,000, but they're spread out for social distancing. Mizzou won the toss and deferred, so Alabama will receive. You see Jaylen Waddle back deep, led the country last year in both kickoff and punt returns. Eli Drinkwitz said, we are not going to kick the ball to him. And that's a good idea.
Very good idea.
Sean Ketting will kick off. Sun setting here in mid-Missouri on a comfortable day, a little warmer than usual in this part of the country. The temperature got up into the mid-80s, and it's 81 degrees at kickoff. About a 10-mile-per-hour breeze at Ketting's back, and that helps him boom it out of the back of the end zone. So here comes Mac Jones, redshirt junior out of the Bowl School in Jacksonville, Florida. Started 4 games last year, including the last 3 when Tua Tagovailoa went down for the year due to injury. And Mac Jones, very solid down the stretch.
I thought he played very well. I like what I see on tape from him. You know, he's 4 years at Alabama, and the good thing for him, 2 years with Steve Sarkisian as the offensive coordinator. So I think he's very well prepared to step in as the full-time starter right now.
They'll take the ball on the left hash mark. And already issues with a substitution. Carl Tucker runs on late for the Tide. They open in the pistol. Najee Harris, one of the best running backs in the country. Jones faked to him and threw in the direction of Waddle, incomplete.
Thing I liked about Mac Jones last year was his moxie and his ability to shake off some bad plays. He had 2 pick sixes on the road against the arch rivals. He didn't flinch. He came back. He ended up with 4 touchdowns to offset those interceptions. His team had a chance to win. Came up a little short.
Najee Harris, powerful runner at 6'2", 230. Dragged down after a 6-yard gain by Joshua Bledsoe, one of their safeties. They like their safeties on defense for Missouri.
They kind of got a triangle of studs back there in the defense. They got Nick Bolton, their middle linebacker. Then those 2 deep safeties in Bledsoe and Gillespie are really the leaders and the anchors of this defense.
It was a very good defense for Missouri in a 6-6 season a year ago. They were in the top 20 in the country in scoring defense and in total defense. Mac Jones throws over the middle, incomplete. Trying to rifle it in to Devontae Smith. There's the other safety, Tyree Gillespie, with the hard hit.
See, both these safeties are over 200 pounds. They're physical guys, but they can run. This is a good throw, a good route, but a better play by the safety Gillespie, dislodging the football from Devontae Smith.
So here's Sam Johnson to punt it away to Chris Abrams-Drain. Johnson, a true freshman out of Birmingham, playing his first college football game. And his first punt just okay. Fair catch made by Abrams Green at the 36. Good field position for Missouri, Allison Williams. So who's going to be their quarterback?
Well, I think in a lot of ways the quarterback competition is going to continue because we should see multiple guys at the position, but it's Shawn Robinson who will get the first snaps over Connor Bazelak. The reason Robinson has experience, he played 7 games in 2018 at TCU, and because of his ability to use his feet as an equalizer. Now, unless he comes out on fire here, you should expect to see Bazelak on about the 3rd series of the game because Eli Drinkwitz says they have both earned the opportunity to prove it under the lights.
They're both learning a new offense under Coach Drinkwitz. Robinson pitches it. He gets blasted to Damon Hazelton, another newcomer to Missouri, transfer from Virginia Tech. He got blasted by Christian Harris, the linebacker.
First play for the Alabama defense, a little triple option play, and they are right on it. They had all 3 aspects of the play diagnosed.
We should mention, even though Drinkwitz didn't name a quarterback until today, Alabama was fully expecting Robinson would start. His pass incomplete. Hazelton couldn't catch it. Matter of fact, we spoke with Pete Golding, the defensive coordinator, yesterday. All he talked about was Robinson. Didn't really even mention Bazelak.
I know. Well, and I tell you that I think that's what we expected too, because of his ability to make things happen with his feet when plays break down.
Drinkwitz off 1 season at App State. Set the Sun Belt record. Most wins with 12, 11-1 in the regular season. He's also the play caller. And here comes a blitz. No chance for Robinson. He barely got the snap. And Christian Harris was in his lap.
Yeah, this is a bust. You don't want to let somebody come right up the middle. Guard or center. Somebody has to step inside.
Wow.
Not sure who. It looks like the center, Mike Maietti, who's the transfer, the grad transfer from Rutgers, the most experienced guy up there. Looked like he might have stepped the wrong way on that one.
It's a Missouri team that battled COVID issues in the preseason, particularly on the offensive line. Coach Drinkwitz concerned about the left side of the offensive line. The right side should be a strength. Grant McInnes, his first punt as a Missouri Tiger. Grad transfer from Kentucky. And it's down to the 33-yard line.
And kicking away from Waddle again also, which is smart.
Indeed it is. Waddle, one of the great all-around talents in college football, as we welcome in Todd McShay.
That's what happens to a punter when you try to punt to Jaylen Waddle. I mean, this guy, to me, is the most dynamic offensive weapon in all of college football. For a guy like Steve Sarkisian as an offensive coordinator, he's like a stick of dynamite. You can play him all over the place. You know if you get the ball in his hands, he's going to be explosive. And then I think we're going to see a lot more of him as a vertical route runner. So good with the ball in his hands, but he also can get down the field. I'm excited to see what they do with him tonight.
They flip it to him as he came in motion. Took the pitch forward from Mac Jones, and Missouri ready for it. Just a 2-yard gain. Ennis Rakestraw, true freshman quarterback, starting his career against Alabama. And their coaches think he's ready for it.
They thought from day one he proved that he was a competitor, that he was not going to back down, that he had all the qualifications mentally and physically to be a corner in this league. And everybody on the team knew that it was right for him to be the starter.
Play fake to Najee Harris. And Jones fires complete across midfield. John Mechie trying to break free. He's been a role player, but now the number 3 receiver with the departure to the NFL of Henry Ruggs and Jerry Jeudy.
That was awesome timing by Mac Jones. He threw that ball in the seam before Mechie had come out of the break. Perfect timing by quarterback and receiver on that route.
He can throw it too. Beautiful spiral right on target and incomplete. Intended for Devontae Smith, who was well covered by Joshua Bledsoe.
Yeah, Bledsoe was the safety coming over to help. It's a good route. It's another good throw. But watch Bledsoe get his eyes around, and that's what I think makes these two safeties unique, is they're big and they can play and fill the alley as run support, but they're fast enough and quick enough to play man coverage. And that's evidence right there on that play.
2nd and 10. Harris running left, untouched as he picks up the first down, gets about 3 more. He's hit hard again. by Tyree Gillespie. Nick Bolton there as well, but it's 1st and 10 for Alabama at the 17-yard line.
Really nice job by Miller Forrestall, the tight end, number 87 on the block, and then Deontay Brown, the left guard, pulling out in front of the play.
Ishmael Burdine, redshirt freshman, his replacement.
And on his first play, he's right here on Devontae Smith.
Welcome to the game.
Yeah.
For now, it's single coverage. It's Najee Harris. He dances down to the 12-yard line.
You're going to see when Alabama really wants to run and assert their will on people, they're going to run to that left side. I mean, that's where Alex Leatherwood, the left tackle, is. Deontay Brown was the right guard last year. He's moved to the left side. And those are two powerful guys, and I'm sure, as Todd has mentioned, they're both, NFL guys. They're going to be playing on Sundays, and that's the way they're going to run the football.
After the fake, it's Devontae Smith down the far sideline, out of bounds, but with the first down at the 5-yard line, knocked out by Tyree Gillespie.
Have a nifty little play. They just got motion going one way, threw it back out the backside to Devontae Smith. Got the first down inside the 5.
Steve Sarkisian, offensive coordinator for Alabama. Good to see him looking well. He had a heart procedure, had a valve problem, and an aneurysm developed. He underwent surgery in the offseason. Najee Harris to the 3. Tyree Gillespie, another tackle. It'll be 2nd and goal for Bama, trying to punch it in with its first score of the year. And Harris is a touchdown scorer. He scored 20 touchdowns last year. 13 on the ground. Only Clyde Edwards-Helaire at LSU had more rushing TDs with 16. He lines up in the pistol. Jones gave it to him, and Harris rocked. Well, this is a hard-hitting Missouri Tiger defense early, and it's Gillespie who has introduced himself to the Crimson Tide here in the first quarter.
Well, they tried to lead the tight end Miller Forrestall, but he got stood up right in the hole. And that was Devin Nicholson, number 11, the inside linebacker, that stood up the block in the hole, and there were 2 other black shirts there to bring him down and bring up 3rd down.
3rd and goal from the 1. 7 minutes into the season opener for the Tide and Tigers. Forrestall shifted into the backfield. Najee Harris puts his head down and scores the first Alabama touchdown of 2020.
Nice job of just waiting and finding the crease. And, at 6'3", 220 pounds, if he gets going north and south, gets those shoulders square, he's going to be a hard guy to keep out of the end zone. Little patience, found a crease, and then got through it sideways into the end zone.
On to attempt the extra point.
Down the stretch. Last 8 games, they averaged giving him the ball 19 times a game. And he became the workhorse. He became the feature back. We'll see other running backs, but clearly Najee Harris, as a senior, is the go-to guy in that backfield.
8 straight games with a rushing TD. Will Riker adds the extra point.
Extra point is good.
Alabama. Impressive drive for Alabama. Columbia, Missouri. Najee Harris, the touchdown. He has 38 rushing yards already. He moved past Eddie Lacy in the 14th place in career rushing yards at the University of Alabama.
Jaylen Waddle is on kickoff coverage. I am just shocked by that. He is the outside guy on kickoff coverage for Alabama.
Wow, what a debut for Mike Leach. Here it's Missouri back on offense. And a nice play to start this possession. Robinson to Jaylen Knox for a big gainer.
Well, Knox is going to come in motion. See all that motion going to the left and then come back out with the bootleg. That's what Eli Drinkwitz likes to do. Get the defense flowing one way, show motion one way, bring action out the backside.
And when you're talking about players to watch today, Tyler Beatty, to me, is the most versatile offensive weapon that Missouri has. They like to put him in the backfield, also in the slot. He can run routes and catch the ball. And then on the opposite side, Patrick Surtain, I think he's the best press cover corner in all of college football. I love watching him go one-on-one.
He's the only returning starter in that secondary.
Those are Chick-fil-A impact players. There are a lot of them on both sides. Sean Robinson, another nice throw to Jaylen Knox. Malachi Moore, a true freshman out of Trussville, Alabama, in the game early. He made the tackle.
I went back and watched the last big game that I saw Sean Robinson playing against Ohio State in 2018. And he got the ball out of his hands very quickly. Another high-level defense like this Alabama defense. He knows how to get the ball out quick.
And they try to set up a screen. And it's an incomplete pass, trying to get it to the impact player, Tyler Beatty. Robinson, outstanding high school career in DeSoto, Texas. Led them to their first state title in 2016. Was the Gatorade Texas Player of the Year. Went to TCU. And got his best opportunity in 2018. Started 7 games, but suffered a shoulder injury. Transferred here last year, was hoping to be eligible to play right away, but some people think it was better that he didn't. He was still recovering from the shoulder problem. He's under duress here, slings it, did well to get rid of it, but it's a play that only goes to the 33-yard line. Josh Jobe took down Damon Hazelton.
And this is 2-down territory for Eli Drinkwitz. The crowd that is here likes the aggressiveness going forward against Alabama here on 4th down, but I think this is the right move.
They have a true freshman kicker as well on the fringe of his range. This seems like the prudent decision by Coach Drinkwitz. Robinson, the late pitch, in trouble. Roundtree, and he's dropped for a 2-yard loss.
Beautiful play by Dylan Moses. Again, they tried to go option to the short side of the field, and they were not fooled. Here's Dylan Moses. You see the communication back and forth here, and then you're going to see Moses fill where the pitch goes. Roundtree, they forced the pitch. Moses in perfect position. They ran away from the 3 receivers, thinking they'd catch Alabama's defense shifting to the strength. Didn't work.
And you saw in that play, both the shot before the play and the tackle that Moses made, what they missed last year.
That's
right.
You
saw the leadership, the signal calling before the play, and then he went and made a huge tackle. Matt Jones airing it out for Waddle, and he makes the catch in the air with 2 defenders nearby. He's down at the 20-yard line of Missouri.
Waddle does a great job of elevating for the catch. He knows he's going to get hit, so he goes up with 2 hands, secures the football, takes the big hit from Gillespie. If he doesn't jump for that football, it's going to get broken up. It's not going to be a catch, but he goes above the 2 defenders to make the reception.
For a 46-yard gain. Now Harris trying to find some running room, leaps over Gillespie and goes down at the 18-yard line. Hard-earned 2 yards for Najee Harris.
We talked about it pregame. Waddle is so great when you get the ball in his hands on reverses in that short game. But I think he's really underrated when it comes to the vertical routes. And now that he's not the number 4 receiver after Henry Ruggs goes in the first round and Jerry Jeudy as well, I think we're going to see a lot more of him working down the field.
Now, he averaged 4 touches a game last year and over 20 yards every time he touched it. I would expect to see that double at least this year.
Mac Jones given time, throws for Devontae Smith. He's out of bounds. You saw the graphic. Todd McShay has Waddle, his 4th-ranked wide receiver, number 11 overall. One of the 3 ahead of him is his teammate Devontae Smith, who made the catch but couldn't get a foot down in bounds.
3rd down here for the Missouri defense. Again, the strength of this team we knew coming in would be their defense. The coordinator Ryan Walters was retained by Eli Drinkwitz. 8 starters back. This is a big stop opportunity for him here on 3rd down.
There's one of the rising stars in coaching, 34-year-old Ryan Walters. He brings pressure on Jones. They didn't get there in time, and it's a touchdown. Jaylen Waddle makes it 13-0, Alabama.
He has the ability to accelerate. You see it in everything he does. Watch how he runs away from the defender. They pick up the pressure, and you see that separation. That's just caused by Waddle's ability to accelerate. You see it when he's running routes and he creates separation. You see him after he catches it and his ability to separate from would-be tacklers.
Quick strike, 4 plays, 66 yards, a minute 13 to do it. Will Reichert kicks his second extra point. 18-yard touchdown. Mac Jones to Jaylen Waddle, who caught 6 touchdown passes last year. Junior from Houston, Texas. Chase Allen's kickoff returnable this time for Tyler Beatty. And he brings it back to the 30.
Personal foul, late hit, kicking team. 15-yard penalty added to the end of the return. First down.
Well, this is going to help Missouri, and Nick Saban not happy with that penalty. We can't see his face behind the mask, but there's the hit.
The foul was on number 16.
Always the second guy who gets caught.
Drew Sanders in that instance. Robinson lost the football and goes out of bounds. It was poked away by Josh Jobe, the corner.
Just nothing. There's no room to run on the perimeter right now against this Alabama defense.
Really on the
team speed and the leverage. They have not got out-leveraged on the defense on anything to the outside right now. The only outside play that worked for Missouri was the bootleg, where they brought action left and threw the ball out to the right side. Nothing running wide has been there.
Pressure again, another untouched blitzer. Robinson threw it in the direction of Kiki Chisholm. Moses came on a blitz again. Dylan told us the other day it was painful to look at Pete Golding, the defensive coordinator, to watch last year, feeling like he could have done something. Pete Golding said, I came to Alabama to coach the best defense in the country. They were far from it last year, well below their usual standard. And Dylan Moses said, I'm determined to make us a dominant defense again this year, as we're supposed to be.
Well, they're off to a pretty good start in this one. They get another stop on third down, and you mentioned it. The biggest problem last year, before the season started, they lost Dylan Moses, they lost Joshua McMillan. They had to play freshman linebackers, and in this defense, those inside linebackers have to communicate. They have to set the defense. They have a lot of responsibility, and they just weren't ready to do that. They're good players, they're high-level recruits, but they weren't ready to step into that role, and it affected their overall defense. And then they had some injuries up front in their defensive line, and it just was not what Alabama was used to.
Now the benefit for this year is those young linebackers are experienced, and they now have quality depth at that position. Low snap for the new punter, Grant McInnes. Grad transfer from Kentucky.
And people have been trying for years to say Nick's lost it, you know, the dynasty's over. I'm not so sure that's the case.
Najee Harris straight up the middle as we're under 2 minutes to go in the first quarter, and Alabama leads 14-0. They were 11-2 last year. And you read articles, you talk to Nick Saban, and you hear words like horrible, terrible. Look at Harris almost breaking free after he got loose from several tackles. Martez Manuel finally able to drag him down by the ankle.
Well, as you watch the end of this play and this tackle and a guy just hanging on, that's what the Missouri defense is doing right now. They're just barely hanging on because the balance, the play calling, the running of Harris, the throwing of Mac Jones, the explosiveness of Devontae Smith and Jaylen Waddle, it's all been on display. And right now, Missouri is on their heels.
You know why they thought last year was awful? It was their first season with more than one loss since 2014. They had lost exactly one game in each season, 2015 through 2018.
And Sean, they lost 2 games by a combined 8 points.
They lost to LSU at home by 5 November 9th, and then lost at Auburn 48-45. Jones threw 2 pick sixes, but also threw 4 touchdown passes. Brian Robinson, Najee Harris's backup, makes the catch, dropped immediately by Martez Manuel. Here's Allison Williams.
Sean, Missouri defensive coordinator Ryan Walters spent a lot of time with that secondary trying to get some things cleaned up, but it seems like they're happy with the way their front is holding up against this big and experienced Alabama Alabama offensive line. They said the surge has been good, but they've told their guys, you have to finish on the pass rush. You have to finish and get to the quarterback.
Tough to get there against this huge offensive line. The smallest, if you will, in terms of weight is Leatherwood, the left tackle, at 312. The right tackle, Evan Neal's 360. Right guard, Deontay Brown, 350. Robinson trying to make the case that he caught it. He did not catch it in bounds. And as Rakestraw had the coverage, 3rd down and 12.
It was great coverage by Rakestraw. I mean, he really didn't leave Mac Jones anywhere to throw the football. Another big 3rd down opportunity. They had a little trouble keeping track of Waddle on those 3rd downs, and Alabama smartly is going to put him inside on the slot. It's a little harder to double when he's in here.
Twisting up front for Missouri. They don't get close to Jones, and he's on target again. John Mechie to the 45-yard line of Missouri. 23-yard gain. We spoke with Mac Jones. He said, I have a nice connection with Mechie. We spent a lot of time together on the scout team.
Yeah, you can build that. And that time Jaylen Waddle was the decoy. He ran the defense off and opened it up.
Jones, beautiful spiral on target to the tight end. Miller Forrestall, and he's out of bounds. Inside the 15, they'll spot it at the 11 on the final play of the first quarter. Impressive start for Alabama on the road, leading 14-0 and threatening again. You're watching College Football Primetime, presented by PlayStation 5, a part of Marathon Conference Kickoff. Sean McDonough, Todd Blackledge in the booth. Todd McShay, Allison Williams on the field. Our producer, Josh Hoffman. And our director, Scott Johnson, our terrific ESPN crew. Delighted to be in mid-Missouri on a beautiful night, watching Alabama and the Tigers. It's all tied through the first quarter. They're up 14-0 and looking for more. 1st and 10 from the Mizzou 11. Swing pass. Jaylen Waddle lunges for the pylon and has it. Touchdown, Alabama. 2nd for Waddle.
What a nifty little play. Coming out of the timeout, they put Waddle in motion like he was running a jet sweep the other way. He turned, came back out to the play side, and it was a quick little throw. And again, you see the athleticism of Waddle diving for that pylon. But what a nifty play call and design by Steve Sarkisian.
After review, the ball carrier touched the pylon prior to crossing the goal line. The ball will be placed at the half-yard line, where it will be 1st and goal, Alabama.
As we said, definitely not a touchdown. That was clear from the beginning. Waddle's stunned.
You know, that is one where the replay got it right, and Matt explained it perfectly for us.
Well, that's why Matt's here.
If he'd have stayed with the reach, he has the touchdown easily, and instinctively he pulled the ball back to protect it and ended up giving probably Najee Harris another touchdown instead of one for himself.
You would think they just try to pound it in with Harris. And that was pretty simple. Touchdown, Alabama. 2nd for Najee Harris.
We had Clemson the first game, and you know, we had watched games and it looked like the defense was ahead of the offense, but Clemson came out, and with Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne, that offense was really good in the first half against Wake Forest. Last week we were expecting a high-scoring offensive game with Oklahoma State and Tulsa. It was all defense. Alabama's offense so far looks very efficient and explosive.
Will Reichert adds the extra point. Lamar Jackson's Louisville team lost a close one at Pittsburgh today in the ACC. The Panthers off to a nice 3-0 start.
Yeah, I think Pat Narduzzi thought his team was a little bit snubbed in the preseason. Thought he had a good football team, even though he had a couple key guys opt out. They're off to a good start.
Comes Tyler Beatty with the Chase Allen kickoff, and he's smothered at the 16-yard line. All right, there's part of the Bolton clan. Nick's dad, Carlos, fine player at Louisiana Tech. Back in the 90s, he's really been the inspiration for Nick's football career. Said they told my dad he was too short.
That's right.
He was a fine college player. They've been telling me I'm too short at 6 feet. Bolton is also, Nick, that is a terrific college player. Sean Robinson back in at quarterback. And there's Joshua, and he's a 6th grader, and like most 6th graders, more interested in the technology than the game going on in front of him. Nick said they've formed a bond within just these last few months. The time at home helped during the pandemic early on back in March. Bolton went home to Texas for a while. Nice play by Daniel Wright to swing down Robinson.
Sean, you mentioned his new brother Joshua, 12 years old. He is in the process of being adopted by the Bolton family, and they are just a remarkable example of real love and support for one another. Carlos and Walinda, Nick's dad and mom, took in Joshua after seeing his story on the local news, and they were just so moved by him. They met him and knew he belonged with his family, especially when they found out he's a big-time football fan. They said, you got to love sports if you're in this family, and he does.
4-man rush on 3rd down and 7. There's a conversion. Dominic Jacinto across midfield. His first catch. He had the quote of the preseason talking about Coach Drinkwitz's new offense. He said, this offense is really weird.
Well, it's a lot of misdirection, a lot of different movement.
Roundtree bounces outside. He gets upended by Josh Jobe, but it's a good 1st down play. 9 more for the Missouri Tigers on the move with 8 minutes to go in the half, down by 21.
First time they've been able to get a run to the perimeter. Daniel Parker, the tight end, with a big block.
They pick up the tempo again. Tough run. Roundtree almost broke free, but Jordan Battle wrestled him down. The sophomore safety from Fort Lauderdale, and now the tempo really picks up.
The offensive line's got a little juice right now.
Roundtree spins ahead for a couple more.
Roundtree's the shiftiest of all the running backs from Missouri. He does a great job as an inside runner of understanding where the crease is going to open up. He loves bouncing it outside, but when he stays inside the tackles, that's when he's really successful.
He's coming up on 2,800 career rushing yards. He just moved past Henry Josie, Tiger legend, into 5th place all time in career rushing at Missouri. Robinson in big trouble. Did well to get back near the 15-yard line. Dylan Moses there again for the tie.
Well, really well played by Patrick Surtain. Todd talked about him as an impact player. He was the guy that had leverage on the backside and was responsible for the quarterback run. He didn't get the tackle, but he forced the quarterback to go to the sideline for nothing.
Missouri 2 for 2 on 3rd down on this drive. They were 0 for 4 prior to this possession. They handed it off to Jaylen Knox, and he just runs out of bounds way short of the 1st down. You think they'll go for it here? 4th and about 5, Todd? I don't think the field goal is, well, they're going to send the field goal team on.
Yeah, I think they want to pay off this possession. I mean, as far as you're not going to keep pace with Alabama with field goals, but they got a great stop by their defense. They had some momentum on offense. Pay it off with some points if they can here.
True freshman kicker, Harrison Mevis from Warsaw, Indiana. 21-yarder. And that one's perfect. The highly touted kicker. And they're on the board. First points under Coach Eli Drinkwitz with 6 minutes to go in the half. Sean Ketting's kickoff is a touchback. So here comes Alabama. The screen to Najee Harris. It doesn't seem like it was just yesterday. We hadn't even heard of Devontae Smith until he caught the touchdown pass as a freshman in overtime of the national championship game to beat Georgia. You blink your eye and now he's a senior. Number 3 wide receiver, as rated by Todd McShay, Jamar Chase, and Rashad Bateman, LSU and Minnesota, respectively, ahead of him. Chase has opted out. It seems like Bateman's trying to get back in now that the Big Ten's going to play. Jaylen Waddle, so dangerous in the open field. Like dives down.
It's like a video game. You know, I mean, seriously, you get him out in space, and he has the ability to change direction so quickly. I mean, it's just hard to break down on that guy. You got to get a lot of people around him to get him on the ground.
He has oily hips, very rarely seen.
Now Smith. And that's another first down. They are doing a great job of spreading it around to Smith and Waddle and Najee Harris. Mac Jones, 15 for 20 for 214 and a touchdown pass. He said he really appreciated that when he became the starter last year, Sarkisian emphasized what Jones could do well. Changed a lot of the approach of the offense. He's not Tua Tagovailoa. And as a result, they were successful.
Yep. And a lot of that, now we've seen him in the shotgun a lot tonight, but he likes being under center. He played in that wing T, or a modified wing T offense in high school. He likes being under center. He likes play action passing.
What's the wing T?
It's a run offense, is what it is. I mean, it's a misdirection, ball handling, run-oriented.
It's a nightmare for a quarterback who wants to throw the ball.
But somehow he threw 28 or 29 touchdowns as a senior, and I said, that's not the wing T. He said, it was a little modified. Play to your strengths, right?
Brian Robinson, the ball carry, another first down. And I think that says a lot about Mac Jones. Yeah. He's at the bowl school. They have a legendary coach, Corky Rogers, who's won all kinds of championships running the wing T. He said, yeah, I could have gone someplace else where they let me sling it around all over the field like they do at so many high schools now, but I love my coach, I love my school, I love my teammates. I wanted to stay and win with that group. 1st and 10 at the Tiger, 27. Brian Robinson, the senior from Tuscaloosa.
You know, I just want to get back to one more point about Mac Jones and what he did in high school and being under the center and how rare that is today. I mean, nowadays, most all quarterbacks starting at the pee-wee level and in middle school and high school are always in the shotgun. And I remember talking to Nick Saban because he likes pro-style stuff under the center from time to time. He said it's so hard to teach quarterbacks now how to take a snap from center and the footwork that everybody uses in the NFL a lot.
He's completed 10 in a row. He's completed 10 out of 11. That should have been 11 and a touchdown. It was dropped by Brian Robinson.
Yeah, Brian Robinson was the guy he faked to on a play action, came out of the backfield, and Nick Bolton got caught with his eyes in the backfield and was beaten in man coverage. Very distraught Brian Robinson because he had a touchdown.
We can't catch it. Caught 11 out of the backfield last year. 11 passes, no touchdowns. 3rd down and 6. It's the first time they've gotten to 3rd down on this drive. It's the 10th play of the drive.
The freshman rake straw is on Waddle this time.
Well protected again. Jones, Waddle gets behind the defenders for another touchdown.
What a throw.
Touchdown, Alabama.
This is a picture-perfect throw. The safety was coming over to help. It is over the outside shoulder. You cannot throw the football any better than this.
And the toughness, too, to hang in the pocket and deliver that ball.
That's beautiful. That's good coverage, but a better throw.
So that's the 2nd touchdown for Waddle. This one clearly a touchdown. He had one taken away on a replay review. Slipped down there. If you hit the track, goes around the field. And he's all right.
Missouri will get the ball to start the 2nd half. They deferred on the opening kickoff.
No orange slices for Robinson at the half. 28-3, Alabama. Back to the studio we go. Here's the State Farm halftime report. This is the SEC on ESPN. Opening day for the Southeastern Conference. Preseason favorite Alabama looking very much like the favorite to win the conference, leading the Tigers 28-3 here at Faurot Field. Here at the PlayStation first half stats. Pretty much complete domination by Alabama. Missouri moved the ball in spurts. 315 yards of offense for the Tide in the first half. Chase Allen kicks off for Bama to begin second half. It'll be a touchback. And I think, Todd, it's pretty much what we expected. You know, although the first game, we've seen a lot of teams struggle right out of the gate. Not Alabama, and not surprising, Missouri would struggle with the new coaching staff and the disjointed preseason.
And, you know, we thought we'd see this out of Mac Jones. Very efficient, didn't try to do too much, get the ball to the playmakers. That big three of Najee Harris, Jaylen, Waddle, and Devontae Smith had 24 touches and 4 touchdowns in the first half. So get them the football. They're going to make you look good.
And oh, by the way, there was a little bit of competition for the quarterback job in the preseason. Alabama has a very highly touted true freshman, perhaps the best high school quarterback in the country last year, Bryce Young. You might see in this game, you would think, if it remains one-sided. Some Bama fans perhaps hoping that Young would be the starter on opening day. Out throwing is Sean Robinson to Jaylen Knox for a short gain. Here's Allison Williams.
Well, Sean, I spoke to Nick Saban at the half. For as well as his offense played, you know, he still had a few things they could do better. And he pointed out the penalties, especially on pre-snap offensively, he was concerned with. He said, we overcame them, but we have to clean those up. As for Eli Drinkwitz and this Mizzou offense, he said we have to be better on third down, find a way to take some shots, and they're going to stick with Sean Robinson here for the rest of the half.
Throw over the middle, catch by Kiki Chisholm, grad transfer from D2 Angelo State.
It's a good decision right there by Sean Robinson. Second and long, get part of the yardage back. Give yourself a chance on third down. A much more manageable situation on this third down play. You don't have to hold the ball as long as if it would have been third down and 17.
Coach Drinkwitz said even though Chisholm is from Angelo State, don't reach any conclusions by that. He said he is an absolute stud. Robinson escapes, throws on the run, has his man, and it's a first down. Jaylen Knox again, the junior from Mansfield, Texas.
Jaylen Knox did a really nice job of finding a hole in the defense and just sitting there for his quarterback. You're going to see as Robinson leaves the pocket, Jaylen Knox moves with him and kind of finds a little hole and sits in there. And Robinson is able to get the ball to him for a big conversion on third down.
So difficult when you're rolling that fast to make an accurate throw like you did. Really impressive.
Good for a 14-yard gain. A good block from Case Cook. The right guard just shoved one of the rushers past the quarterback. Moses calling out the defense at the last moment. Here's Daniel Parker, the tight end. He had a serious eye infection in the offseason. He thought his football career might be over. Had a couple of surgical procedures. In fact, for a while they were afraid he might lose the eye. But he's healthy now and thrilled to be back on the field for his junior year. Keep an eye on number 31, Will Anderson, the true freshman on the Alabama defense. They bring a lot of 4- and 5-star recruits, but this guy has had a lot more hype than the norm.
When you hear Nick Saban say he may be one of the best we've ever had here as an edge rusher, look out, saying a lot. He created that play.
Yes, he did. He blew the play up. The pitch was not caught, and Patrick Surtain recovered the ball. Looked like Jaylen Knox still had a good chance to recover it, but somehow he didn't gather it in, and Surtain has the takeaway.
I mean, he tackled the ball carrier, but he was in there so quickly, it forced Robinson into a hurry mode, and he made a bad pitch. But it was his first step, and that's what the coaches all told us, his explosive first step off the line of scrimmage. And the way he works and prepares, they just expect very special things from him, and he made a special play right there.
I thought it was great talking to Mac Jones, asking him, you know, who stood out during fall camp. I expected him to say a wide receiver, a pass catcher, somebody. He said, this guy, Will Anderson. I nicknamed him the Terminator because he's around the ball and blows up everything that we try to do.
Excellent field position for Alabama from the Mizzou 37. Najee Harris ripped down by Trey Williams, the defensive end, fifth-year senior from right here in Columbia, Missouri, Rockbridge High School.
Gain of 4, 2nd and 6 at the 33.
A takeaway by the Alabama defense, the first turnover by either team tonight. Jones over the middle, Devontae Smith has the first down.
Number 10,
down at the 23, tackled by Devin Nicholson, who led all tacklers in the first half with 8.
Nicholson had to step into a starting role. Their main guy, Garrett, Cale Garrett, got injured, and then he had to step up as a starter, and that's when Nick Bolton took off and became the leading tackler. Both guys improved as the year went on.
Last year, Najee Harris crossed the 20 to the 18. Kobe Whiteside made the tackle, the leader of that defensive front for Missouri. 6.5 sacks a year ago. Tough task for Missouri, as we've said all night, opening against this bunch. They were supposed to play Central Arkansas, and their first conference game was going to be against Vanderbilt. They weren't even supposed to play Alabama, but when they decided to go to a 10-game conference schedule only and add 2 conference games.
Yeah.
Hey, Eli Drinkwitz, good luck. We're going to add Alabama to your schedule.
Right.
Najee Harris runs out of bounds. Got a little bit of a late shove there from Devin Nicholson.
Well, this was a defense last year in Missouri that had some good numbers. I mean, they were good at scoring defense and total defense. The 2 areas of emphasis this year, they didn't feel like they did a good job. Sacks, they felt like they affected the quarterback, but they didn't get him on the ground, and they didn't take the ball away enough, and they've not been able to get Mac Jones on the ground either, or really make him uncomfortable.
Harris up the middle, and it's a touchdown.
Touchdown, Alabama. 8-yard touchdown run.
We've seen that on all of his touchdown runs today. He just kind of gets leaning forward, and he'll get sideways, this time almost backwards, and backs the football into the end zone. I think it was a touchdown. I don't think he was down before the ball crossed the plane.
Good view from the progressive pylon cam. Well, I was convinced Waddle had a touchdown earlier, and it wasn't, so I'm going to refrain from commentary. That's why you and Todd are the analysts. Moved up to 14th all time. He can pass Sherman Williams, number 13 tonight. He needs 12 more yards to do that. Extra point good. 9:45 to go in the third. Bryce Young warming up. We may see the heralded true freshman out of Modern Day High School in Southern California. Chase Allen kicks off in the 50. By the way, I don't know how much money Allstate gives for the field goals and extra points, but they should give a little more for that one because Will Riker got blasted.
That's right.
Sean Robinson throws on the run. Nico Hay, one of their tight ends, sophomore from St. Louis. Out to about the 34-yard line, a 9-yard gain, and they'll go very quickly. Larry Roundtree, hard-earned yardage for the first down.
Nice job keeping his feet in bounds on the sideline, just trying to keep bouncing out, and Alabama had it pretty well defended, but he was able to keep his feet from going out of bounds before they got the first down.
Sets an example for others to follow. Will Anderson involved on another stop, and Christian Harris there as well.
I think their run defense just looks so much more solid right now. I know it's the first game. I know it's a new offense, a new system for Missouri, but again, that's the area where there was a drop-off. Last year, they were 37th in the country in stopping the run. The year before that, they were 19th in the country. Those are the only 2 years under Nick Saban that they weren't a top 10 defense in stopping the run. And it showed up and hurt them.
They started 6 different true freshmen on defense last year, and that led the nation. Robinson Low throw.
Didn't think he made the catch here. It was a heck of an effort if he did.
Toski Dove, his first catch.
Robinson's pass complete to
I thought that ball bounced, but they're going to try to line up quick and snap the ball, which they do.
Didn't look like a catch from here. Tyler Beatty gets the call.
Yeah, that definitely was not a catch. And, smart by the Missouri offense to line up, go very fast tempo, and get the play off. Not 35-3. You know, not as much emphasis to maybe stop that one.
Eli Drinkwitz is a smart guy. We mentioned student body president of Arkansas Tech. He graduated magna cum laude. Now you were an academic All-American.
I got good grades. I don't know how smart I was, but I got good grades.
Daniel Parker blasted by Christian Harris, one of those freshmen thrown into the fire last year.
Pass complete to number 82.
It's textbook tackling there. You know, you get in there, lead with the shoulder, wrap up, and drive through. And put the receiver on his back. 3rd and long now for Sean Robinson. Pretty decent drive right here for Missouri. They've been able to move the ball a little bit, mixing run and pass.
They've had some bright spots. Converted 5 of their last 6 third downs. This is a tough one, 3rd and 10. Another play into the boundary. And Roundtree goes out at the 34-yard line.
It's a heck of a collision right there between Dylan Moses and Roundtree. And this was a grown man collision on the sideline. Roundtree got the better of it. You always hate that as a defender when it's on the other team's sideline too, if you don't get the better of that.
The entire sideline there woofing at Dylan Moses, apparently oblivious to the 35-3 on the scoreboard.
It doesn't matter if you're up 32, right?
They're going for it on 4th down, and they convert. It's Barrett Bannister down to the 20-yard line. Redshirt junior from Fayetteville, Arkansas.
It was a nice concept there. They ran the defense off as a 3-receiver concept, and Bannister kind of found a soft spot, and good decision by Sean Robinson going there with the football.
Roundtree, powerful run. They're going to mark him down back near the free. Bounced closer to the goal line.
Aggressive drive. You know, they've been good on 3rd down. That was a big conversion on the throw by Robinson. The last time they put a good drive together, they were able to pay it off with a field goal. They want a touchdown here. Another way to get it into the end zone. Again, this is where the mobility of your quarterback, Sean Robinson, gives you some options of what you can do offensively.
Ooh. Roundtree was the fake man, and he got blasted. Parker dropped the ball.
Boy, Sean Robinson did a great job getting this ball out. Watch how quickly Roundtree is hit. And Robinson just throws it sidearm underneath the rushing Jordan Battle, the safety. That's a hard throw. And it's on time. It's on the money. And that's just Daniel Clark losing his concentration, looking to the end zone.
Kind of reminds you of the man 2 hours away in Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes, with that sidearm delivery. Should be 7 for 7 on the drive. Good play fake to Roundtree. Robinson running for his life, and the ball comes out as he's hit near the 20. Excuse me, not the ball.
I wondered why Alabama wasn't running after it. It looked like the ball from where we were.
Sure did. That's definitely his helmet. Fortunately for Missouri. Fortunately, Robinson seems to be okay.
Well, again, we saw Will Anderson with pressure. We saw Dylan Moses closing in. And they've been very clued in. You remember Nick Saban told Allison, we've got to be concerned about the quarterback and his ability to move. That time he tried to make too much out of the play and hurt their cause considerably.
Harrison Mevis, the true freshman kicker, is 2 for 2 in his debut. That one's good from 37. Made a 27-yarder in the first half. You're watching college football primetime, presented by PlayStation 5, a part of Marathon Conference Kickoff. Well, that was almost 2 years ago to the day when Todd McShay was here when Missouri hosted Georgia. Construction, some additions, beautiful new $100 million facility in that end zone where their offices are here at Faurot Field. Todd McShay went up that crane about 120 feet in the air.
No, thank you.
Yeah. Do you see how pale my face is?
Health and safety people, Todd, or was that just a throw?
I mean, there was no hard hat, there was no harness. My son said, my 6-year-old son still says, "Dad, why did you do that? Why did you climb up there?" I don't have a good answer.
Were you glad you did? It's a nice view, probably. When you get
It actually was.
Guys.
Here's Bryce Young, Matt, making his debut. 5-star prospect out of Mater Dei High School in Southern California. And his first snap is a handoff to Trey Sanders. Nick Bolton made the tackle. The California Gatorade Player of the Year, more than 13,000 career passing yards and 152 career touchdowns. Last year he threw for 4,528 with 58 touchdowns and just 6 interceptions. Bryce Young, while he was committed to USC, Craig Young publicly said he believes his son has wound up in the right place at Alabama. Low snap. Poised to pick it up and make a play to Devontae Smith, who almost broke free. He got yanked down by Adam Sparks.
Well, you talk about a tremendous feel for throwing the football. Bad snap. He fields it. At first he's thinking maybe I should just run it. And then he says, let's go ahead and run the play. A heck of a response by the quarterback and taking a hit.
Trajan Jeffcoat back in the Missouri program after missing all of last year. They're happy to have him back up front. Mac Jones had a good night. 18 for 24 for 249 and 2 touchdowns. He's handed the baton off to Bryce Young. You're watching ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by PlayStation 5. On to the fourth quarter here in Columbia, Missouri. Alabama leading 35-6. They have 3rd down and 4 from their own 30-yard line with the true freshman Bryce Young at quarterback. He sets and fires a beautiful throw. Devontae Smith the catch. And a first down across midfield in the Missouri 46.
Guys, we saw Bryce Young drop that snap, but Landon Dickerson, the center, sought him out when they were warming up prior to him coming out to take some practice snaps, and they continued to practice that center quarterback exchange during this last timeout. But I'm curious how different it is for the center, because Bryce Young is significantly shorter than Mac Jones.
They might have gotten Harris one more carry to get him over 100 yards. He has 98. Trey Sanders, the ball carrier.
The fact that Waddle and Smith are still in the game grinding it out tells you all you need to know about how they compete. Really impressed by these guys.
Well, and I think also they wanted Bryce Young to at least have one possession with those guys.
Yep.
And one possession with the starting offensive line. You know?
It's a great point.
Brian Robinson carried on the last play. Now Trey Sanders back in. 12 and a half to go. Number 2 Alabama. The AP poll this week. Behind only Clemson. Young rushed for over 1,000 yards in his career in high school. Took off running there. Went down just shy of the first down.
He is twitchy.
Yes, Mac Jones. What about the competition in the preseason? Bryce Young, he said every day at Alabama is competition. Yeah. In every aspect of the program.
Well, there were quarterbacks ahead of him that were highly touted. There's always going to be quarterbacks behind him. I mean, and at a place like Alabama, if you're afraid of competition, you're in the wrong place.
Well, here it's 3rd down and 2. And it's Brian Robinson ahead for the Alabama first down to the 19-yard line. So 4 new coaches in the SEC this season, including Eli Drinkwitz, who's on the short end of it right now with Alabama. Lane Kiffin went down to defeat against Florida. What a day for Kyle Trask. He threw 6 touchdown passes. Good. 4 to Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts was unbelievable.
Mike Leach, a winner. KJ Costello, the grad transfer from Stanford, threw for over 600 yards.
Yeah, you didn't misspeak. 600, not 400, not 500, over 600 yards.
How about the Pirates just rolling into the SEC?
It got a lot more interesting when he and Lane Kiffin arrived. Of course, LSU had only 5 starters back from the national championship team, and Derek Stingley, one of them, didn't play. But still, that was a very impressive performance by Mississippi State.
And here's the thing, and not to take anything away, because it was a great effort, but one of the things about this 2020 season, with the restrictions on crowds, you know, there was not an intimidating place to go into Baton Rouge and play today for Mississippi State or KJ Costello. You know, Norman, Oklahoma was not an intimidating place for Kansas State to go and play today. And so, you know, teams that are used to having that loud crowd, that home field advantage, is just not quite the same this season. It's kind of more of a level playing field, whether you're playing at home or away.
Martell's manual, nice defensive play there to drop Trey Sanders. It's 3rd down and 14 with 10 minutes to go.
Seen Waddle with his hands on the ball for a while. Might be a time for him. Here he is in the slot right here.
Alabama 8 out of 10 on 3rd down. Nick Saban complained about 6 penalties in the first half. Didn't like that from his team. Young fumbles. Nick Bolton recovers. Trey Williams knocked it out.
Nice little stunt on the inside. I think it was Trey Williams came on the inside stunt from his defensive end position. Watch Trey Williams come on an inside stunt here, and he's going to get right to the quarterback. Loops around, gets in between the center and the guard, knocks the football out. And Nick Bolton is there to scoop it up. Big play by the Missouri defense.
Their first takeaway of the night. Quick pop from Sean Robinson to Kiki Chisholm.
Well, for Alabama defensively now, a couple backups in, a chance to get some guys on tape. Still a lot of first lines out there. Dylan Moses still out there. Josh Jobe, one of the starting corners. Patrick Surtain, starting corner, still in the ball game. Trying to build that depth. Again, the injuries really hurt this defense a year ago. This is more of an Alabama-type defensive football game. Only 193 total yards from Missouri's offense right now.
Sean Robinson as a receiver wide open. It's Tyler Beatty with the first touchdown of the Eli Drinkwitz era at Missouri.
We mentioned some new guys in, and they just lost track of Beatty coming out of the backfield. It's not a real tricky play. Here's Beatty. He's just going to slip out and run a wheel route down the sideline, but nobody accounts for him. The tight end, Daniel Parker, gets picked up, but nobody goes with the back, Beatty. And Sean Robinson able to find him for an easy touchdown. An obvious breakdown in coverage by this Alabama defense that had played very sound up until that play.
54-yard touchdown. Robinson's first touchdown pass as a Missouri Tiger. He's completed 16 of his last 18. The most recent one to the junior from Memphis, Tyler Beatty, for the Mizzou TD. Tyler Beatty, the touchdown.
You know,
5 TD catches last year. Versatile player, runner and receiver.
Yeah. He was the leading receiver on the team last year. First time a running back had done that since Brock Olivo in 1995.
Look at you doing your homework.
Yeah, we haven't seen Ohio State on the field yet. We know what they're going to have coming back. Led by their quarterback, Justin Fields.
Cameron Wilkins made the tackle on Trey Sanders.
You know, that last third down throw that
I was just going to say
was huge. It was a great throw, but it was also huge because that was a 3rd and long. And even though Mizzou, it's still, the game is going to be tough to overtake Alabama. No, they had gotten a little juice with the touchdown. If they would have got a stop there, they had a chance to maybe just at least grab some more momentum in this football game, and he kind of snuffed it out with that throw.
Young, oh, beautiful movement to elude the rush. And he runs out of bounds with a first down, just shy of midfield, to the delight of his parents, Craig and Julie.
Missouri trying to come after him. He does a nice job hanging as long as he could, finding a little crease, and then shows a little burst, a little speed, and then smartly gets out of bounds. Get the yardage he can get, and then get out of bounds. He's already taken a couple shots earlier in his performance here.
To the play fake. Maybe just threw that one into the ground.
And see, you asked the question, okay, why is Alabama still throwing? They're winning 35-13, and it's a first down play. There's 5 minutes left. Because you want this kid who you know has a bright future, whether it's this year or some other time, you want him to have real reps. You don't want him to just have mop-up duty. So you want to call real plays. That's why Waddle and Devontae Smith are still in the football game. You want him to work the real stuff in case you need him at some point during the course of this season. It's not rubbing it in on Missouri. It's not trying to run up the score, anything like that. It's just trying to give your backup quarterback real reps.
Well, you saw it last year.
Yeah.
Tua Tagovailoa, clearly the starting quarterback, but he got hurt against Mississippi State. They needed the backup. Mac Jones had had some reps.
And it's so obvious just watching him how talented Young is. I mean, yeah, there's an experience, and he's made mistakes. But getting him quality reps, as you said, Todd, is so important right now because you can see how sudden he is and the ability to get the ball out and make plays and extend plays.
And the reps were limited. Even though he was there early and enrolled early, there was no spring ball. And so the reps that he would have gotten normally, he didn't get a chance to get.
He's sacked by Trajan Jeffcoat.
Wherever they got this guy from, Trajan Jeffcoat, he's shown up today. All we found out was that he wasn't with them last year. He just got made eligible this week, and he has shown up and made some plays. We added him to our boards, and I'm glad we did, because he's made a couple nice plays for this Missouri defense tonight.
They have such a great history of D linemen here at Missouri. I think in recent years, Sheldon Richardson, Alden Smith, Gordon Elliott, Dane Ray, Marcus Golden, Coney Ewing, Michael Sam. Muffed punt. Bannister was back for the punt.
Bannister clearly dropped it. He was on the ground, on his belly, and trying to reach out and bring it back in. And Alabama's going to come away with the football.
It was Daniel Wright at the bottom of the pile, number 3. So Alabama takes it back with 3:36 to go.
The field is a must. And the ball was recovered by the kicking team. 1st and 10.
Hit him right in the face mask and popped out. He never had it clean at all. There's the fight at the bottom. You're right.
You're right.
You're right.
Redshirt junior from Fort Lauderdale, brother of the Gator standout Major Wright. Played in the NFL, Bears and the Buccaneers. Well, Alabama 28-point favorite with the ball, leading 35-13. Jay Sanders, the ball carrier. Trey Williams made the tackle. We heard the voice of Alex Moore, the referee, a moment ago, the ruling on the field. Matt Austin told us this is Alex Moore's first game as a referee in the Southeastern Conference. He's been a side judge. As a matter of fact, he was on Matt's crew. What a thrill this has to be for this young man. Matt telling us how hard Alex has worked to get to this point, and these officials worked so hard in so many years to get this opportunity at the highest level, and good for him. It's been a very well officiated game, and he has managed the game flow beautifully.
Yep.
Nick Bolton's gone into the injury tent. The linebacker for Missouri, Cameron Wilkins, who's come into the game, made the play. Trey Sanders.
You know, Sean, we talked tonight about Nick Saban, his sustained excellence, the success, and the number of guys they've put in the NFL and the draft. I'm going to make a point after this play, this third down play.
Well, at least 9 players drafted in each of the last 4 years.
That's the point I was going to make.
I'm sorry.
No, but that's staggering. I mean, you think about
Way
it.
to steal it,
Every year you're reloading 9 players, and last year when it was 9 in the first 3 rounds. So it's not like, you know, a couple late round guys. They're all high level.
Yeah, we don't have any
guys.
slackers going to the 6th round at Alabama.
Unbelievable.
And how about
the other thing is, I've got 12 guys right now with draftable grades in this group. So it's like every single year.
96 players selected under Saban, more than the entire Mid-American Conference.
33 first-round picks here at Alabama. It's amazing.
He's had 38 first-round picks back to his time at LSU. That's more than any coach in history. Your coach, Joe Paterno, at 33 first-round picks. 34-yard field goal good for Will Reichert. It's a 25-point game with 2:05 to go. Sean McDonough, Todd Blackledge, Todd McShay, and Allison Williams. Happy to have you with us on a beautiful night in mid-Missouri here in Columbia. Chase Allen kicks off. Dawson Downing, appropriately named. Georgia won, but their quarterback situation, Todd, unsettled.
Yeah, very much so.
Heading into that game with number 8 Auburn, a winner today against Kentucky.
Yeah, very much so. You know, they brought in 2 graduate transfers when Jake Fromm moved on. And, you know, Jamie Newman was going to be the guy they thought. He decided to opt out. And J.T. Daniels was recovering from a knee injury. And they ended up starting Dwan Mathis today. And then he didn't finish the game. Stetson Bennett came in for him.
It was a quick hook, too.
Yeah.
He didn't look good.
It's an issue. It's an issue.
Mathis is so talented, but if you make mistakes like that, Kirby Smart is obviously from the Nick Saban tree. Like, they have no patience for it.
But how good was Kyle Trask today? I mean, KJ Costello was spectacular, but Kyle Trask was unbelievable as well.
And KJ Costello, you and I were at the Sugar Bowl, and we got a text from somebody we consider to be a reliable source who told us KJ Costello was going to transfer to Georgia.
Right.
And we kind of waited for that news to come out, and it never happened. Now you wonder if because Newman went there that KJ Costello changed his mind, and maybe it was just bad information. But they probably like to have KJ Costello in Georgia right now. 623 yards against LSU today. And Mississippi State's win. 3rd down and 10 here for Missouri. Connor Bazelak back in. He's on target to Jaylen Knox for the first down. You just think about what a tough way to open, too. We talked about new coaching staff, no spring practice. The whole offseason's a mess. They have a fairly complicated new system they want to play on offense. They did keep the defensive coordinator and 2 other defensive coaches to make that transition a little easier. They're essentially doing the same things on defense. But then they say 10 games only, all in the conference. We're going to add 2 games to you, Missouri, and we're going to give you Alabama and LSU.
Right. Yeah. And how about Sam Pittman? He goes to Arkansas, first-year coach, and they say, we're going to give you Florida and Georgia. That's two additional teams from the East. So
we need to find out how they decided all of that. But here it is. Okay, you get 2 extra games in the conference. Eli, good luck. Alabama and at LSU. Sam Pittman, we're going to give you Georgia, your old team, and you're going to go to Florida.
LSU won't be number 6 anymore after that loss today.
There's these SEC shorts that you can find online that are hilarious. They did a couple of good ones about the changes in schedule. You can find those. If you're a fan of college football and good humor. We really enjoyed talking with him the other day. An impressive young man. Nice play on 2nd and 14. Bazelak got it to Dominic Jacinto, junior from Raytown, Missouri. That a Raytown High School.
22 yards. That's a Central Bankers down.
22-yard gain. 18 of that after the catch by Dominic. And Eli called that timeout. He wants to score again. Get something else they can take away from this.
That's a holding. I mean, they're saying that was an uncatchable pass. I still think that's holding. I mean, it may be uncatchable for pass interference, but maybe I'm wrong on that. I think if you grab a guy and pull him down, that's still defensive holding, I would think.
Well, I guess there at the end he kind of pulls him down.
He was stumbling a little bit too.
Bazelak.
Same play they got there on 2nd down. A little crossing route. Jacinto.
Out of bounds, or is there a timeout? Eli went running all the way down there.
Yeah, you're just trying to build anything right now. You know, that's like even in that first possession where they kick the field goal and you say, well, you're not going to beat Alabama with touchdowns. I agree, you're not. But you've got to pay off a decent drive. You've got to build confidence any way you can in your system with your guys. Because quite honestly, because they weren't with their players so much in the offseason, and so much that, you know, was done by Zoom, and you know, he's had guys that didn't want to buy in. He's still selling himself to this team. He's still selling his program. He's still selling his offense and his system. And
it seems like he's won them over. We talked to Nick Bolton, and he said Coach Drink is the most energetic guy on the field.
Yeah.
He's a smart guy. He's a good guy. Jim Sturk, the AD who hired him, considers him special. I think it was a really good hire.
I do too.
He had the good sense to keep most of the defensive staff, including Ryan Walters. And there have been plenty of things to hang your hat on. I mean, Sean Robinson, under pressure a lot of the night, 19 for 25 for 185 yards and a touchdown. Roundtree ran for almost 5 yards a carry. Bazelak throws, incomplete.
You got one more shot at it here.
Pass intended for number 1, Tyler Beatty, incomplete.
Tyler Beatty, the intended receiver. Shane Lee had the coverage. Another guy who saw a lot of playing time last year as a true freshman because of the injuries. Moses and Joshua. Bazelak wants to run it in, and it's a touchdown on the last play of the game. It will be an extra point. That's a 7-yard run for Connor Bazelak. I think if you're Eli Drinkwitz, you got to be very pleased.
Absolutely. This was a good decision. Combination coverages. He saw it open up. There was nobody in the middle of the field, and he made a good decision. Remember, earlier in the game, he had a chance to run, and he didn't. He threw it. That time, he made the right decision and got the touchdown.
And there will not be an extra point. So Alabama wins its season opener, 38-19 at Missouri. Troy and BYU are next. So let's send you to Provo now. Here's Dave Fleming.